Hey guys, Noah. Everyone who reads and must converses the channel. Let me just make sure I got this all set up right for you guys. I got a little bit of a new setup. We got the, I got the headphones that go right into the mixer here. So I got like a little adapter where I can plug these headphones into the mixer. Now I can hear everything, and I can actually hook my instruments up to it, and I can hear those now. Rather than having to hear them on the back end, right? I can hear it all in there. And in this mixer, man, it's a pretty cool little mixer where I can do some effects, whatever. That's for maybe a little bit later, maybe another time. We'll see how it goes. So, welcome to the channel, y'all. Let me know how all the sound levels are. Let me know how it's striking you guys. I'm going to go ahead and let it be. So, I will put the headphones back on later for, some management or whatever. So, happy January, y'all. Happy 2025. We're into a whole nother year. In 2025, that actually means that my channel is 5 years old. The channel started, that was January 1st, of 2020 is when we started it, when I started it. And it was fantastic, jumped right head feet first into this community, hit the ground running with a bunch of amazing people. Hope to see you guys coming on by. Hello, JD, John Dixon in the house. How you doing, brother? Nice to see you. Yeah, man. We got a lot on the docket for today, but I'm just gonna stick to the main points to tell you the truth because this book is freaking beautiful. Okay, this book is gorgeous, and I don't mean just the outside. We'll crack it open and take a look in a little bit. This is what I was so excited about for the Christmas season. I knew that that this book was gonna be mine soon after, if not for Christmas. And yeah, I got a gift card and got it brand new. It was a half price for both of Alan Moore's new novels because they both dropped this year, right? And I don't know if they're still doing a half price on the hardcovers, but got two first editions here. Killer. So The Great Win. This is the beginning of a new series. I mean, how old is Alan Moore to be starting a huge series? I think he says it's going to be like 5 novels, 5 books. So in the end, it might rival Jerusalem in length, right? We'll see. Yeah. Hey, Jason or James Humphreys in the house. Yeah, man. I know. I'm missed around here. I actually get a lot of comments and a lot of traffic on the channel. I've gained a lot of subs, and I'm still active in talking on the channel, and in comments and everything like that. So I'll just encourage anybody who's new, welcome. And also, I am kicking the channel off in 2025 again because it has been enough of a break for me. And I'm that kind of guy, I'm a hobby guy. I go from hobby to hobby. And right now, been slapping this bass over here. You guys can see a little bit of it, but I'm learning. And I've played guitar my whole life, but I'm learning. And I'm thinking about starting a new channel for bass because I don't want to mix the two. Have like a music channel and then keep the book channel and keep the things kind of separate. If that is a cool idea for you, or if you have any thoughts about that kind of thing, feel free to share them in the comments. And anybody that's not here, for the live, please chime in the comments. Let me know that you're active, that you're here, and that and whatever your opinion might be on the future of the channel. But right here at the start, January, and it might take longer than January, maybe January and February, maybe first quarter, I'll be going through Alan Moore's Moon and Serpent big bumper book of magic. And we'll get to that in a second. First, let's just knock out The Long Win. What is this book about? It's called A Long London Novel, little subtitle there. And Long London is a kind of a mythological or mystical London, where it seems like multiple dimensions or, like history and future might be intertwined. I'll give you the dust jacket because it'll give us a little bit to talk about. And I'll tell you what I thought because I've read all his other novels, right? He's only has two other novels proper, A Voice in the Fire and Jerusalem. So we'll see. I'm really looking forward to this because this is another fiction work, right? Dennis Knuckleyard is a hapless 18-year-old who works and lives in a secondhand bookstore. One day, his boss and landlady, Coffin Ada, sends him to retrieve some rare books, one of which Dennis discovers should not exist. A London Walk by Reverend Thomas Hampole is a fictitious book that appears in a real novel by another author. Yet, A London Walk is physically there in his hands. Coffinata tells Dennis the book comes from the other London, the Great Win, a version of the city that is beyond time. In the Great Win, epochs blend and realities and unrealities blur, while concepts such as crime and poetry are incarnated as wondrous and terrible beings. But Coffin Ada tells Dennis if he does not return the book to this other London, he will be killed. So, he finds himself just like right in the middle of this mess, right? He has to return this book to, this other London, this great win. So begins Dennis's adventure in the Long London, delving deep into the city's occult underbelly and tarrying with an eccentric cast of sorcerers, gangsters, and murderers. Dennis finds himself at the center of an explosive series of events that may endanger both Londons. Mystical and hilarious and magnificently imagined, The Great Win is an unforgettable introduction to the consciousness-altering world of Long London. We have a nice little, I'll give you Alan Moore's author photo there. A nice little author photo. And, points if you can call out the shirt before I tell you. But I wore this shirt. It's a book shirt. There's your clue. And I wore it because this is kind of striking me like what Stephen King did with his Dark Tower series. What he did in that, if you're not aware, and this is not a spoiler for the series, it's a spoiler for part of it. I'm telling you what happens in one of the books, but it's it doesn't make or break anything. It's just part of this reality of the Dark Tower. Is that fiction stories, like our fiction books, are actual worlds somewhere else. Yeah, there you go, William Gass. I knew somebody would call it out quick. And so in that book, the main character, Roland, the gunslinger, comes in contact with characters from other novels, fiction novels in our world. Harry Potter, Marvel characters like Dr. Doombots are around, so it's wild, and a real mind blow. The Dark Tower series is a complete mind blow. So I expect, I expect nothing short of a mind blow from Alan Moore, because unless he's got some really good ideas and going for it, he's not putting, his energy and effort into creating another fiction series. So this is definitely meant, something that he means to see through to the end and explore. Something like what I said with the fiction books becoming part of the actual reality of our characters in the book that you're reading. That was revealed in the Dark Tower series in book 5, I want to say. Yeah, book 5, and there's a lot before that. This is part of the first book, the first underlying reality of Long London and what Alan Moore is doing off the rip, and I'm sure it goes into unexpected territory, right? We'll leave that one back there. Leave it up there. Any discussion on it, we can do that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it has been a long time, man. Thanks for coming by, SS. And yeah, we're showing some really cool stuff off today. I wanted to take some time because one, we got a snow day here. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, please get on over there because I do kind of post with more regularity, and I'm kind of active there, just kind of showing uh, what I'm up to a little bit more. I don't want to put on the YouTube channel things that are not, books, because this is the place for that. And I don't want to muddy down the content. I want people to find what they want. And if they find me, then they find a good book channel, right? So I'm thinking about starting another channel, and we'll get to that. Another channel for another thing, another focus for me. But on my Instagram, I don't really care. On my Instagram, I'm going to share just whatever. And some of it can be book content. Some of it could be life content. Some of it can be simply, bass content, music content, things like that. Good evening, SS, for sure. How did King put the Harry Potter snitches in his story? And can we do that? I don't know if Stephen King, I mean, I'm sure he got all the okays, the right to use these kind of the kind of characters that he uses, and to use them in the effect that he does in the Dark Tower novel. But when it does happen, it is very unexpected. And the characters in the books, the Dark Tower books, don't know what's going on, right? This is simply what happens in their world. They have just a very mixed conglomerate of reality where dimensions are bleeding over and bleeding through by the end of the Dark Tower series, more and more and more. And so it, even though you're going through it, you don't make that leap as well. You might think, okay, all of Stephen King's books are in this world, right? So they bleed over, and the main characters are at some point in The Stand. They're in a scene from The Stand, something like that. But and our world, right? They can come into our world and have interaction and stuff like this. But you don't really think that they might go to another writer's world, go end up in a Faulkner Southern cluster F, right? So I loved it. I really do. It's been a really long time since I read that, and so I'm interested in getting into that kind of really loose, really diverse and just chaotic style of reality. And that's how Alan Moore is. If you guys, people follow Alan Moore, reading his stuff, he's very expert at throwing just a lot of different characters, a lot of different ideas, all in one thing, and then working through it, right? Hashing it out. So I'm glad he's doing another fiction book. This is not a fiction book, by the way. This is a book that is 17 years in the making, and probably more than that, right? Probably Alan Moore might say his whole life. Alan Moore did some amazing stuff with Promethea, the graphic novels Promethea, and I do have a video on that. I wish that it was better. I think I might redo it. There is so much, and I did want to put more about Promethea there, but I did, I just did one video, so it just is what it is. But it's not as good as I would like it to be. But Promethea is probably the greatest graphic novel that I've ever read. And it's not because of the graphic novel, it's that too. The art is unbelievable, but the graphic novel is actually um, a primer for Kabbalistic study. And you learn, you will come in contact with and learn, if you desire, all about the tree of life and the Kabbalah and the tarot in Promethea. I love it. And to use it for a fiction story and have it be really, really SS. Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, good night, buddy. Catch up later. All good. We can catch up later. And so Promethea is a fantastic primer, but this kind of thing is a comprehensive overview and delve into and through Kabbalistic study. Okay? It's set up like a kid's book, right? A bumper book, from what I understand. A bumper book is a type of children's book that might, go over a subject, be something encyclopedic, right? Go over animals or space or the ocean or, something like this. And it might have activities in it for children. It might have, stories and maybe a few, jokes, interactive things, and things that groups can do. It's not just for reading. It's an experience, and it's kind of like a centerpiece for a hangout, right? A bumper book. But so he did a bumper book of magic, and it's just keeping in mind that this is framed in a way as like a children's book, right? But look at even the end papers here. How incredible. The colors are so stark, right? I'm going to keep going just quickly. I've only gotten through maybe 30 pages of this, and I'm going to talk about it now, but this is not like the first. I will do videos on this whole book. What I want to do for a project to kick back in this the channel is to go through Alan Moore's big bumper book of magic, this Moon and Serpent bumper book of magic, and go through it extensively. Go through it from start to finish and talking all about it. What a cool little book plate, right? And great images. Here's your table of contents, 2 full pages table of contents, right? And you see the color code here. We have a little symbol. Ben Wiki, John Colthart has this little symbol. Kevin O'Neill has the star here, and then this is Steve Parkhouse and Rick Vidic. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but they have different symbols. So you see the symbols by each of the table of contents denotes which artist is having that section, and everything is lavishly illustrated and pretty awesome. So it kicks off with the Moon and Serpent magical alphabet, and then we have a little comic strip, couple of pages, 1, 2, 3, boom, and then another comic, 1 page, and then we have the introduction to the book. That is, let me see. I'll tell you how many pages we got, because that's where I'm at, is just at the end of that introduction, and that's page 22. So, in the introduction, we have a really good idea of what this book is wanting to do, and some posture things. I think it's really, Alan Moore is very, very smart, right? He's really smart in the way that he puts things together. And I will say that this is Alan Moore and Steve Moore, who is a lifelong friend and mentor and collaborator with Alan Moore, of course, a 17-year project here. But Steve Moore passed, and so I guess there's not really more that Alan Moore wanted to maybe do with this without him here. But also, maybe they just finished, right? Got it to where they wanted it to be. And Alan Moore's voice is apparent in this book, in the comics and how they're written, but also in the prose writing. I hear Alan Moore. I hear his voice, but sometimes I don't, right? Because it is obvious that we have a collaboration in the prose here. What the claim is that actually um, magical thinking, imaginative and creative thinking is the only way that we evolve and that we grow, and that this imagination and creative thinking, which is called magic in this book, magical thinking, but it's creative imaginings and even just in a way of for yourself, and just you thinking through problems. You don't ever say, oh well, that can't happen, right? It is a how would that happen, or in what way could that happen, or maybe just some really close to impossible, but we in the imagination, anything is possible, right? So we remove impossibilities, we remove that, and we actually strengthen the conviction, the will to try, just the will to try. So we go at it from a very simple standpoint, and the introduction is really, really good. But I got the feeling that it was a masterful thing on Alan Moore's part to put this in the format of a bumper book. Because if it is a bumper book, then in the book, Alan Moore can relate and can refer to the reader as a child, and has already a couple of times. And that is exactly the kind of posture we need to have. He is teaching, right? Hey, Christy Louise in the house, and James Humphrey's in the house too. I said goodbye to Facebook and Instagram after the election. Good for you, James. Hey, man, you won't find me. You won't find me. Kind of. Saying we should get into it like that, but I like to keep up with people even if I'm not contributing content directly to YouTube here. Yeah, a pretty nice setup. I'm getting there, I tell you, and nice to see y'all for sure. So with this, I thought it's a great setup, and so we are the novice, the beginner on the track, on the road, and he does talk about the map of a place in the mind. What if we have an inner world, and we do talk about our minds like this, keep things in the front of our minds, or it's in the back of my mind, when there's actually no front or back to be spoke of, right? It means to have something that you're thinking about right now, or something that you only have just in the background there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next little section is 10 pages, and it's things to do on a rainy day, right? And these things to do on a rainy day are throughout the book, right? And these are little activities and inner work that you can do, whether it would be questions, whether it's ideas, maybe some automatic writing, maybe some drawing, but it's some creative endeavor. On here we see some molding, clay, something like that, painting, engraving, whittling out of wood, and there at the beginning was more just drawing and that kind of thing. So we'll I will, you know, I don't want to, I can't speak specifically to that chapter because I hadn't read that one yet. But when it comes down to how he's laying it out to start, it is an a wonderful, you know, I mean, Alan Moore loves Blake, and Alan Moore is being very smart in the way that he is presenting this kind of thing because it is keeping it interesting, and he's not saying directly the kind of thing that I'm saying there, where, you know, magic in this book is creative inner mental work, that kind of thing. He's not saying that explicitly in the first chapter, but he is, you know, he is, because it's what he's talking about. You know what I mean? If you haven't come into contact with these things before, you'll say, well, it's interesting, but I have no idea. I don't know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about mind stuff, whatever that is, right? Well, our mind stuff is our thoughts, feelings, and ideas, beliefs, are, you know, things that we hold already. So this is the substance, right? I know that kind of thing. So I go ahead and make those inferences. I'm gonna still keep doing that. And so to explore this thing, not so much just on a surface level. Hey, Alan Moore says this, and then he says that. I'm gonna say what he means. What I'm really gonna go through this book looking for, though, is ideas that I've never come in contact with before. Aleister Crowley wrote a book somewhat like this, you know, some comprehensive overview of magical thinking, creative inner thinking, and how to use your inner substance as your substance for growth. And that book is called the Book of Thoth, right? What it essentially turns out to be is what this book partially is as well, a primer on the tarot, right? Because in the Kabbalah, the tree of life is the map, and the tarot, these personages, I say personages because they are personified, but they are archetypes, right? Archetypal beings, archetypal powers are the tarot. That's what the tarot is. And so we have the kinds of beings and entities we might, you know, come into contact with in our inner life, because these beings only manifest in consciousness, right? In being itself. So Aleister Crowley's book here is priceless, you know. As far as a tarot, a real good tarot overview, and even Kabbalah, and really get you there to know what you're dealing with, this would be my number one recommendation. It was my favorite book as far as the tarot is concerned, and what really turned me on to understanding the archetypes and you know, the kind of methods that is explicit in here is things like meditation. You know, you become a friend with the card, you become a friend with the archetype, and in that you understand that as part of you, part and parcel of like who you are and what makes us who we are, what makes us why do we make the decisions we do? Here's the world, you know, why do we make the decisions we do? I'll give you some of the images here just because they're freaking beautiful. And I really do think that Alan Moore might be giving, you know, Crowley a run for his money over here with this book, because it's just time for it, you know. There is the Book of Thoth. Aleister Crowley's Book of Thoth came out in early 1900, right? Maybe like 1907 or something. I don't really let me see if I can. I don't even know if it has it in here. originally published in 1944, right? So it wasn't even published until 44. Now, he was working on it before then, of course, but he was working on it at the end of his life. This is one of the last things, if not the last thing that he did. It was not published in his life. Maybe even the cards, all the cards were not completed when he died. Lady Frida Harris is the artist, and there is correspondence. You can read the letters. They got a lot of the letters back and forth between them. Very, very interesting stuff. So he never saw the completion of his tarot, but that, it is the tarot of the new age. There are changes in the tarot in Crowley's tarot from the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And, we're about ready for another, update. We're ready for another framing of what the powers are, because they aren't static, right? Archetypes, powers, and influences are not static, right? So these kind of things, obviously, we have, how strong is the emperor right now in the social, collective? Not very, right? Especially, but how strong is the empress, right? In the social collective, even subconscious, right? Because people don't have to be conscious, they don't have to lend voice to it and say, yeah, I believe this, I believe that. They don't have to do that for these powers. These powers, archetypes, they don't care. They wax and they wane. And an archetype or an idea like judgment had a huge pull, a huge weight on the collective for hundreds of years, maybe thousands in the human collective, the human culture. But how much does judgment, how much power and weight does judgment have on the collective now, right? Hardly none. Like, there's almost no consequences for anything ultimately, right? Because we live in this, the collective, and Alan Moore would agree, at least with this on a surface level, that right now, now we live in a very materialistic, atheistic collective. Most people just are, basically following quote unquote science, and he addresses that right off the bat, because it is a dichotomy between science and imagination. Just basically, what do you think is possible, and what do you think we're here to do, right? JLB Books. What? I don't know which one. What's up, Quantum Spin? What's up? Thank you for coming by. Nice to see everybody, for sure. And like I said, if you're here later, chime in on the comments so that I can know who all's kind of hanging out still and all that kind of thing. There is drawing, but then also some kind of like computer generated images. There's some everything in this book. Okay, I'm gonna turn y'all on to this now, because it's just incredible, some of the visuals that are in this book, and I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of give it to you, because I do want people to. This is a book that will grow you. What really interests me, and everybody can see on my channel, the kind of things that I love and the kind of things that I love to share are the things that are going to make you different than you were the day before, and want to be different, because the different is better, because the different is growing and is being more and stuff. So here's the first chapter on Kabbalah. It's called Tree Climbing for Beginners, right? So he references us like children climbing a tree, right? And so we can it's very, very comfortable in this posture, because you don't have to buy it. You don't have to buy it. This is something that you just you either resonate with or you don't, and it'll be different for different people. There is a lot of um, nudity in this as far as some of the drawings, so I will be careful with that. I don't want it doesn't really matter for the channel, but I don't want it to be a big deal. What there is in this is there's over 100 lives of the great enchanters. Do you see this? These lives of the great enchanters is a part that will keep coming up. There'll be a little lives of the great enchanters, and then it will, and see, one page is one person. So on this page we have Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes Trismegistus is this page, and then there is Pythagoras here, and of course not comprehensive, but just showing what their influence was in magical thinking in a collective sense, right? Why is Hermes Trismegistus relevant right now? And of course, something like Kabbalah and Hermes is all over the place, even in pop culture now, right? So many things that I've said or referenced have, just pop culture, allegories or like who's the star, who's the empress, who's the queen? Well, it's Beyonce, right? Who's the star? Is it T Swift, right? Like, I mean, these kind of things. That's what we're talking about with public figures and these archetypal powers. Now, I'm not saying they're aware of it. I mean, I'm sure Beyonce is, with Jay-Z wearing Crowley's shirts and stuff like that. This kind of stuff is not just in the popular culture. It is what these people believe and what these people follow, because creativity and the mind is the name of the game, guys. And so here is just, I mean, it's ridiculous. So a big section on the tarot, and we go through tarot on the top. This is the Fool, and then the Magician here, the Fool, and then the Magician, and then we're gonna just go through the tarot trumps, right? But I'm very interested in figuring out these stick drawings and very simple tarot images seem to be directly from this book, right? The other tarot images are traditional tarot images from perhaps the Italian, I think it's the Italian, like Visconti deck, or no, or maybe it is French. I'm not sure exactly, because I haven't gone all through the book, but I have seen that there's these very simple images for all the tarot, and I wonder if Alan Moore advocates using that, because it pulls all the symbolism out of it for you, so that you populate it with your own symbolism. That's a key to the tarot. A key to understanding the tarot is that when something is showing you a feminine, soft quality, that you imbue that feeling, that archetype, whatever it is, the moon, for example, that you imbibe that with your own personal symbolism of a low bat fire alarm beeping, or is it just yes, I do, and it's in my garage over there. Man, I keep forgetting about it. I thought I said it. I said, dude, I have to change that battery before I record here, because it's right here next to the room and my mic is hot enough to pick it up every time. So I apologize. I didn't get over there. Just forgot it. So I like to you know, a big thing about the tree of life. I have a tree of life that I did myself, that I drew, and I made it really oversized, and I didn't populate it with anything, right? And then once I had it all drawn out, I populated it with my understandings, how I would say something, how I understand these archetypal powers and um, influences. And that was really, really fruitful for me to go through that. I did that before starting my channel. I did that when I was studying Kabbalah before now, 5 years ago. So maybe I'll show that at some point, but it is old. It does need to be redone. I mean, just some incredible. I don't want to. Okay, I'll show some incredible images, right? Because that's what we're doing here. I'm gonna get y'all excited. This book is. I mean, I've just looked through it just to see images and images more than a few times, because it's just, there's my boy. There is my boy. Right there. William Blake, baby. And, Alan Moore's boy as well, of course, right? I mean, he named his opus, his magnum opus, Jerusalem. Alan Moore's Jerusalem is named after the greatest William Blake poem that William Blake said is the greatest poem ever. Jerusalem, Emanation of the Giant Albion, right? A lot of traditional images like this from traditional occult studies. Maybe this is a Jacob Boehm, some from that era, medieval, something like this. And brand new images. And we'll get into, I'm going to have to get into why moon and serpent. Why is it the moon and serpent? And like I said, the moon and serpent there. The moon is a very feminine archetype. The moon is a very feminine energy. And the serpent is obviously a very male. Am I right? There's a there's a maze here. The Sephiroth Labyrinth. Check that out. Follow the path. Find your way from Malkut, the world, all the way up to Keter, which is God. But you do have to travel all through. You have to travel. I mean, I would think to even beat it, you have to travel through all the Sephiroth, right? Interesting. A draw yourself. You remember those little numbered drawings? You can have your own Baphomet. It's ridiculous. Who's Baphomet though? Really? Who's Baphomet? And I don't mean who do you think is evil, right? I mean who embodies that seat, that archetype. Somebody sitting in between that is marrying things that are two extremes of one spectrum. Something like that, right? So now there's giant. I mean, look at this. It reminds me of some of the end mind blow images from Promethea. I mean, the Promethea is so worth it to read just to get to the end. The last book in Promethea, the climax of Promethea, is so unbelievably awesome and mind-blowing. We have Gurdjieff, we have Charles Leland, just a crazy amount of great lives of lives of the great enchanters is what it's called. And we actually, Crowley is here, and we um we get little snapshots of people that are from all different cultures, right? All different cultures, all different postures towards magical thinking and things like that. And I would I think that there, I when I saw that, I was like, wow, I'm gonna learn more than I, previously thought with this right here. I'm gonna learn quite a bit more than I thought with this book, because there is a just a huge amount of information. This is compiled over, you know, half of these guys' lives so far. I mean, look at that image. What a freaking badass image, right? If if horrific, right? So it just doesn't stop with this thing. And then I mean, we're going through, what is this? Spirit, you know, spirits of animal spirits, and we have like a little page on animal spirits, and like, well, what do you mean by animal spirit? What is an animal spirit? Spirits of place, right here. Places can have their own, you know, spiritual energy, right? And using spirit as the word, I will not going forward. I use it now because I don't. That's what they're using on the titles, and I haven't been through this section of the book yet. But I'll say, spiritual for lack of a better word, right? Because we're talking about the internal lives. Spirit of a place is the internal lives and the collective of everyone who lives in that place. Because it's all mental is the first step. If you have, and that didn't come from here. That comes from me thinking, and me, how I am with this kind of thing. I want to stress to people saying, hey, the mental overrides the physical in a lot of times, especially with your own self, right? I I can be happy because I choose to. I can be happy no matter what the circumstance, you know. I can, and of course there's exceptions. Of course, not getting beat up or something, but you can, you you have a lot more power than you think you do, right? Different languages. I saw one that it's just all these different languages talking about different realms of the visionary realm. What is that? Uh, and then here, this is where I was kind of thumbing through to look. Here's where we're just talking about the Sephiroth, which is the points on the tree of life. And I'm just gonna dig. I'm just gonna go through. Oh man, is my power flickering? I think my power flickered. If we lose you, can spirits have spirits? Right. Well, that's why I say the word is not good to use for that, right? PB's pet. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming by. But because what is when I say spirit, I'm not talking about a being. I mean being itself. So can spirits have a spirit? That would mean that a spirit is an entity in and of itself. Something like me, right? I'm within this body. This is me right here. So do I have a spirit? Right? Am I a spirit? Do I have a spirit? These kind of you don't talk about this kind of stuff until you define those kind of things, and so we can really talk about it, right? We can't really talk about it unless we define those kind of things, and define it for yourself and do those explorations. I certainly have, and can talk about the spirit in a lot of different ways, to use that word and things like that. But if I'm being absolutely honest and speaking from my own belief set and my own thoughts of it, then I will do that, and I will do that. I do that on my channel when I go over books and things like this. But with this, I will definitely be going deeper and going more into this thing, because I do have a lot of content on my channel. You guys know what I do, and my thoughts and where I get with writings and ideas and things like that. I definitely don't shy away from making leaps. Right? You can watch some of my Borges content if you want a little taste of that, because there's plenty of Borges where I just kind of go with it, and I say, yeah, I think that this is what he's, but what if he's making a commentary on this kind of thing, right? For sure. And so sorry about that. I do think that you can find a lot of those kind of explorations on my channel of using fiction works, using spiritual works, and exploring those. I did a Kabbalistic run through 100 Years of Solitude, right? And things like that. Of course, a lot of Kabbalah and Torah explorations in Philip K. Dick's later works. That kind of stuff on my channel, The Divine Invasion. So I love this kind of stuff. And if you're on board for it, this is going to be one of those books that just really gets us there. And we'll have lives. Maybe not setting it up regular right now on a schedule, but try to do lives every couple of weeks or so at least, as I'm going through it, just to have those times when we can just talk about it and rap about it, because the main content for this will be put out in videos for people to watch at their leisure. And then in the lives, we can kind of hash out different things, questions and comments, and we can explore and just go on the journey, right? If anybody has Alan Moore's Moon and Serpent Bumper Book of Magic, go ahead and drop me a line in the comments. Let me know, because you are definitely on it for that. Let's go ahead and let that puppy chill right there. Does that work good? Does that work for the visuals here? I think so. Yeah, looking good. All right. I am 300 pages into Jerusalem. Should I keep going? Hell yeah. Dude, I love Jerusalem, man. So the first part, you're 300 pages in. You're still in the first book? I have my reader copy right here. The Burrows, you're in the first part still. Everything changes in book 2, right? Like it just, yeah. Choking on a Tune is 338, starts on page 338. So you're on the chapter before that, 304. And it's fantastic, man. It just gets better and better. I mean, I have a video on my channel about each part of that book, and I try to go deep. I try to go just jumping into it, right? So I hope I did it justice. You let me know after you finish it. I do hope that you finish it for sure. One thing that, and I'll leave you guys with this because we've almost done an hour now. I figured I could talk about that Alan Moore for an hour. But I'm thinking about starting another channel, like I said, because I have been getting into the bass, and I thought it might be fun to do. I like to share it. I like to, share music, and I like to enjoy music, and it's a way that the community can do that. But I don't want to muddy down the content on the book channel with bass videos, right? With music. So, you guys let me know what you think. I'll point you to my Instagram, because I have shared a bit more over there. I even shared like a reel earlier today playing where I was finding some chords on the bass and making some really pretty chord sounds. Um, but I did share just one short here on my channel on YouTube, and it's a little play. I'm playing Step Right Up by Tom Waits. I've been listening to a lot of Tom Waits because there is a lot of upright bass in Tom Waits, and I'm trying to learn fundamentals, you know. I've been a guitar player my whole life, so I do know a stringed instrument pretty good, but I was a rhythm guitarist, right? I love chords, man. I love beautiful chords. And you just don't attack a bass like that. I can't play, the four strings wide open. Do you guys want to hear some bass? I can end it with some bass if you guys want, and play some. Um, but I don't want to. I don't want it to be muddy with the sound. So with bass, you only play like two notes at one time for a chord. And if you play three, you need to get way up high on the fretboard, so that it doesn't just kind of all mix together sonically. Listening to the audiobook of Voice of the Fire, yeah, the first caveman chapter felt so hallucinogenic with the partial language. Yeah, Voice of the Fire is awesome. It is, a proto Jerusalem. Worth going through to the end for sure. I don't know if I've put any content out on the channel on Voice of the Fire. I don't remember, because took such a hiatus, right? Just a break from content. I'm such a hobby guy. I go through phases, and so even with reading, my whole thing with the channel was never to just keep cranking out content and just keep talking about all this kind of stuff. If people want, I never got much asking to do something, anything really, because I'm just so wide in what I like and what I go for, that I have all kinds of playlists and things like that. The Buddhist, from a Western perspective, playlist is always going to be contributed to. Right now, I'm going through the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, and I talked about this on my last live, which was a while ago now, but I'm not using this book, right? I actually have this book is a translation that is fine, for somebody to go through, but I have a wonderful teacher that is going through it and providing commentary as he goes through it. And it is my first time coming in contact with the Mahayana Mahaparinirvana Sutra, and this is actually the final sutra as far as chronologically in the Buddha's life. This kind of thing is a wild mind blow as well. But I do have it. Hey baby, Emily Clemens in the house. That is my Emily Clemens. And Emily pulled the trigger on this badass new bass for me for Christmas too. So just because I have been just really, playing my butt off, Let's see how we can get it to sound. Let's do that Tom Waits. Step right up. I don't mute as much as I should. You know, that's a big learning curve on the bass is learning that muting, man. Muting these strings that you don't want to ring and just letting it ring when you want. What I was working on earlier is I was playing these chords, right? I hope you guys can hear it. Been just picking up whatever I like. I'm I love singer songwriter stuff, and so the bass is a completely different animal for me. Something that is very different than what I've been involved in my life with the guitar and my approach to it. But I still really like the ability to do music like on my own, right? And just do it myself. But you really can't with the bass. So for the most part, I play along with drum tracks or the song, like a song that I want to play. And my boy Ryan, he's come over quite a few times, and he's playing the guitar while I play the bass. That is very fun, and these kind of things continue, right? Little Alice in Chains action, right? So, anybody watching later, anybody just kind of hanging out and catching it on the post when it's posted as a video, let me know. Let me know, guys, if you think uh, you would like to hear some bass. Um, I'm probably gonna start doing that kind of thing. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it whether book uh, community wants to come over and be there, or to hear me and go on that journey or not. because there's a whole different community in around the base, right? And we can let that be base over here, books over there, right? Um, I definitely will keep it separate or more separate from here on out. And I mean, I've done pretty good because I do not put uh, I do not put much bass, in music in general on this channel here. But I did have a music playlist, and you can find quite a bit of music on my channel, just messing around basically, right? And then also there is some rap, some spoken musical videos. So book raps, geeky book flows, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Happy Friday. Hope everybody's happy and healthy, and maybe getting the snow, but I hope everything is good in your parts of the country and all this kind of thing. We got a lot of people going through some hardship, not just with the storms, but with these fires, right? So keep them all in well wishes, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you all who came by and is hanging out with me for this hour. It's really cool. And yeah, leave any kind of ideas in the comments going forward, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye, BookTube.